Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon native tank, and at some point I am going to be getting rid of the creek chubs that are in this tank, and I want to replace them with a bunch of Rosyside dace. Very pretty little fish we have swimming around locally in the stream across the street. And so today we are going to go down and set up the minnow trap. I'm not going to get in this tank. Well, I don't know, maybe later if I feel like doing it or something, I might get in there and try to catch some of those chubs, but that's not necessarily my goal for today. But I do want to get the minnow trap thrown out before it gets any later in the season. As has been pointed out to me, if I catch any of the Rosyside dace before I'm ready to put them in this tank, I can always put them in my quarantine tank for now, which is probably a good idea anyway. And that way I can kind of keep them on hold until I get around to doing whatever I'm going to be doing with my creek chubs in here. So I ordered a new pair of boots. They are made by the company NRS that makes my Velocity shoes that I love so much, and these are my Boundary shoes. These are a new boot for me. They're a cross between a hiking boot and they're neoprene, so they're going to be warm and waterproof, and we're going to go stroll up the stream and get the minnow trap set in a little hole I know that's, I don't know, 100 yards up from where I parked the truck. So we're going to go take a little stroll in the stream. Let me have my GoPro strapped on my head, and I'll see you down there.
Alright everybody, we are actually going to be heading upstream in a minute, but it's been a while since I've been down here, so I just wanted to have a walk over here and look around, see if there's anything interesting happening. Doesn't look like anything's changed. No major trees have fallen. I don't see any big fish swimming around. I see a couple little flashes of some minnows down here and there on the bottom. I definitely don't see any crayfish out and about crawling around. I would imagine the water's getting quite chilly this time of year. You can tell we're getting to the autumn change, but I think this year is going to be a pretty pathetic autumn as far as colors go. We had such a hot, dry summer. Well, it was weird. We got a lot of rain, but every time we got rain, it came down in sheets, so none of it soaked into the ground, which means the reservoir is nice and full. And we had a lot of flooding issues over the summer, but the groundwater level is pretty low. Let's see if I can get down here without killing myself. This looks like where everybody seems to go down, or at least somebody seems to go down through here. So because it was so hot and dry, I just don't think we're going to get a lot of color out of the trees. Well, I can definitely say that one of the benefits of these boundary shoe as opposed to wearing my waterproof socks is that these are made of neoprene, so they're completely insulating. I don't feel that cold temperature on my feet at all. If I wasn't, looking where I was stepping, I wouldn't even know I was in the water. Whereas my waterproof socks, they certainly keep my feet dry, but you feel like your feet are getting wet. You can feel the coldness of the water, and you definitely know you're walking in water. So far so good, no leaks. Now, I was actually beginning to wonder why the water looks so low. It's been raining for the last 2 days, and yet the water level is extremely low. And this is new. This is a meter and a monitoring system. You usually see these right around Pretty Boy Reservoir, and while this does flow into Pretty Boy Reservoir, it joins with some other streams before it actually flows into it. This eventually turns into George's Creek and then flows in, and if you're familiar with my videos, then you're familiar with George's Creek. So that's interesting that they've installed that in here. I wonder if they're not diverting some of the water somewhere and pumping it into a new community or something and using this as a water source. I'm tempted to throw it out in here. There's always schools of fish in here, but I get a lot of those creek chubs, and then I get a lot of those brown, some sort of Natropus species. There's several different species that all look very similar. So I don't know exactly what they are. It's interesting that there's a path all the way up here. I wonder who comes up here. Now, I've seen this orange marker tied to this branch up here before, but I have no idea what it's there for. Or who put it there. So this is the little hole that I wanted to drop my minnow trap in, and I just saw a bunch, and there's a bunch more, a whole bunch of minnows swimming around up in here, and I saw some big ones too. So that means there's probably some creek chubs in here. So when I come back tomorrow, we're probably gonna have a bunch of creek chubs in my trap here. So I just got a little bit of a Italian baguette in there for bait. I normally suspend a metal cage or something in there, and I put the bait in that, so there's no way the fish can just get to it from the outside. So hopefully the bread will last long enough that we'll catch something in there, and then we'll come back here tomorrow and I can set it up a little more appropriately. So we'll just let it sit there, tie it off to something simple. I actually still have a stick here from where I tied it off last time I was down here doing this quite some time ago. And by tying it off, I just mean that. Just gives me a way to access it again. So there you go. We'll come back later and see what happens. So I might stroll around a little more, check out these boots, give them a little bit of a test drive, so to speak. And then maybe within the next couple of days we get some pretty weather, we'll come out here again. We'll do a nice little video about these boots. What's the word I'm looking for? Review video. We'll talk about these Velocity. Nope, sorry, I'm calling them my Velocity shoe. My Velocity shoe is my other one that I've worn before. These are the Boundary shoe. These are made for doing exactly what we're doing here, walking in and out of water, cold, icy water, even breaking through the ice a little bit, walking around. These are going to be great for that. They've got 7 mil thick soles on them, and the neoprene itself is actually quite thick, so they're very soft and cushy. They almost remind me of, I feel like I'm wearing leather moccasins, really. Except my feet are nice and warm. So if I happen to run into Chip, the guy who owns all this property that we're walking around on, he's given me permission to come down here and do this. If I run into him, I'm going to ask him what that's all about and why they've installed that here. So alright everybody, that's it for today. Like I said, we're just going to get that trap set out, and then we will come back tomorrow, and hopefully the sun will be shining. It'll be a little bit prettier of a day. Maybe we'll figure out why this stream is so low, despite the fact that it's been raining for the last 2 days. That's really unusual. I was actually expecting to come down here and find the water cloudy and elevated. I was even wondering if it was going to be too high to walk up there. And here it looks like it's got about half the amount of water it normally has running through it. Normally all these rocks right here, this would be underwater. This used to be almost a little dam. I don't know. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget this one is my outdoors playlist. And I'll see you real soon in the next one.